The lie of silent power. There's a lie that gets passed around in modern men's circles, like some sacred code of masculine power. It says, ignore her and she'll come back. You withdraw your attention, you go quiet, you wait for her to chase, and you call that power. But here's the truth most men don't want to hear. That silence, it rarely brings her back. In fact, more often than not, it pushes her further away. Why? Because silence without clarity is not power, it's confusion. Silence without purpose isn't strength, it's fear dressed in stillness. She doesn't see a composed, grounded man. She sees someone too afraid to speak, too fragile to confront, too emotionally immature to lead with truth. You thought you were playing it cool, but to her it looked like a child playing games. And while you were busy waiting for her to notice your absence, she was already moving on. This video is not about how to win her back, it's about something far more powerful. Becoming the kind of man she doesn't forget, not because you chased her, but because you outgrew the need for her validation. That's what it means to be stoic today. You don't manipulate, you don't punish, you don't react. You rise inwardly, and in that quiet, unshakable strength, you reclaim your power. Why ignoring her often backfires. You feel her pulling away. The texts become shorter, the calls less frequent, and suddenly the warmth is gone. You panic, but you don't show it. Instead, you do what the internet tells you. You go silent. You think, if I stop reaching out, she'll realize what she's losing. You wait 1 day, 2 days, a week, and nothing happens. No text, no apology, no sign that she even noticed. You wonder, did I do something wrong? I thought this was how a high-value man behaves. Here's the truth. Silence without intention is not power. It's passivity wearing a mask. When you ignore her in hopes that she'll miss you, you're not showing strength. You're showing strategy. You're not setting boundaries. You're playing a game. And women, whether they admit it or not, are experts at detecting emotional manipulation. They feel the energy behind the silence. They feel the neediness you're trying to hide. They feel the control you're trying to gain. To you, silence feels powerful. To her, it feels petty. It feels like punishment, and punishment is not masculine. It's insecure. Let's be honest. If she disrespected you and your response is to disappear, you're not leading, you're retreating. If she ignores you and you mirror her behavior, you're not composed, you're reactive. And no woman truly respects a man who reacts more than he leads. You don't become more desirable by pretending not to care. You become more desirable by becoming indifferent. In truth, not because you're bitter, but because your peace is no longer dependent on her presence. That's the difference. One is an act, the other is an identity, and only one creates real power. The Stoic view. Silence is not freedom if it comes from fear. Silence can be powerful, but only when it's rooted in presence, not panic, in clarity, not confusion. The Stoics never taught us to disappear, they taught us to detach. There's a world of difference between ignoring someone and outgrowing the need to react to them. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." He wasn't talking about battles or insults. He was talking about emotional energy, the subtle games people play. If someone disrespects you, don't copy their behavior. If someone goes cold, don't become colder. If someone tries to provoke you, don't become reactive. Because the moment you start matching their immaturity, you lose your own identity. And worse, you give away your power. A Stoic man doesn't disappear to make a point. He steps back to protect his peace. He pauses, not to punish, but to preserve his center. You see, when a woman becomes distant or cold, the reactive man either lashes out or goes silent, hoping to be chased. But the Stoic man, he slows down, he reflects, he responds when it's aligned with his values. He doesn't seek control over her, he seeks control over himself. Epictetus reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. What does that mean in modern dating? It means that how she feels, what she says, whether she respects you, is not yours to control, but how you show up is. If you ignore her just to get a reaction, you're still attached. You're still trying to manipulate the outcome. You haven't let go. You've just disguised your attachment as strategy. That's not Stoicism. That's emotional warfare in a quiet suit. The real Stoic response isn't to ghost her. It's to center yourself, return to your values, and speak only when your words come from stillness, not need. Silence rooted in fear is cowardice. Silence rooted in peace is power. And a man who moves from peace moves the world without ever raising his voice. The Stoic three-step response, what to do instead. If ignoring her doesn't work, if silence without intention only creates more confusion, then what does a grounded Stoic man do when a woman pulls away, goes cold, or begins testing his emotional strength? The answer is not in games, it's in grounding. It's not in punishing her, it's in leading yourself. Here's a three-step Stoic framework to navigate these moments with calm, power, and clarity. Step 1. The power pause. When she becomes distant, your instinct may be to act quickly, to chase, to confront, or to retaliate with silence. Don't. Instead, pause. Take 24 to 48 hours, not to manipulate her, but to regulate yourself. Use this time to return to your breath. Write down your emotions. Ask yourself the question that every Stoic man must live by. What would the highest version of me say right now? Not your ego, not your wounded pride, but the version of you that is unshakable and at peace. Then, if a response feels necessary, communicate with clarity, not confusion. Say something like, "Hey, I sensed some distance recently. I value clarity over guessing games. If you're no longer aligned with that, I respect it. Just let me know." Short, grounded, no guilt trips, no neediness. You're not trying to win her over, you're simply standing on the foundation of your own emotional maturity. You're not chasing, you're checking in. And if she chooses to step away, you won't collapse because your peace never depended on her response. Step 2. The unshakable frame. Let's say she does respond, but not with clarity. Maybe she sends a vague emoji, maybe she plays it cool or sarcastic. This is where most men either explode or collapse into people-pleasing, but not you. A Stoic man holds his frame, not with arrogance, but with anchored stillness. Here's how this might sound. She says, "You didn't even notice I was ignoring you." You respond, "Oh, I noticed. I just figured you needed space." All good either way. Boom. No drama, no emotional roller coaster, just calm, composed masculinity. You're not punishing her, you're not pretending not to care. You're simply showing that your emotions are yours, and hers don't shake them. This is rare, and that rarity is magnetic. Because women don't want a man who reacts. They want a man who leads himself, even when she doesn't know what she wants. Step 3. The reverse investment. This is the part where you reclaim the dynamic. Because most men are still asking the wrong question. Does she still like me? The real Stoic asks, does she even qualify to be in my life? A woman's tests, her distance, her coldness, her silence, are often ways to subconsciously ask, are you strong enough to stand in the fire of my uncertainty without losing yourself? And when you pass that test, you gain her respect. But don't stop there. Turn the mirror. Start placing your values front and center. I only date emotionally honest women. I don't chase, I build. I don't play games, I lead with clarity. Now she has to wonder if she meets your standards, not the other way around. And that's a massive shift, from reactive to selective, from chasing to choosing. Recap of the 3 Stoic steps. Power pause, don't react. Reflect. Respond only from clarity. Unshakable frame, hold your emotional center. Don't collapse into chaos. Reverse investment, lead with your values. Let her qualify for your world. In a world full of men who vanish, explode, or beg, be the man who stays calm. Not because you don't feel, but because your emotions don't own you. Be the man who speaks truth, not tactics. Who walks away, not to prove something, but to preserve peace. That's Stoic power. That's masculine leadership. That's who you're becoming. Real life case study. From rejected to respected. Let me tell you a story. His name was Daniel, late 30s, successful career, smart, kind, well-spoken, and like many men, he met a woman who swept him off his feet. For the first few weeks, everything felt effortless. They laughed, they connected, there was chemistry, depth, and the thrill of new beginnings. But slowly, things started to shift. Her replies got shorter, her calls became, "I'll call you later." Then, silence, no explanation, just absence. Daniel did what many men do. He panicked. He searched YouTube for answers. He read forums, and he followed the advice he thought would work. Ignore her. She'll come back. So he did. He went silent. He stopped texting. He unfollowed her. He waited. But instead of missing him, she posted a picture with another guy, and Daniel was crushed, confused, angry, ashamed. That's when he reached out to me. He said, "I did everything right. I gave her space. I went silent. Why didn't it work?" I told him the truth. Because silence doesn't work when it's done to manipulate. It only works when it's rooted in strength. Daniel had gone quiet, not to protect his peace, but to trigger hers. That's not Stoicism. That's strategy. So we created a new plan, one rooted in Stoic clarity, calm, and character. Step 1, the pause. He waited 48 hours, not out of fear, but reflection. He journaled, he trained, he returned to his purpose. Step 2, the message. He wrote simply, "Hey, I noticed some space between us. I value mutual effort in any connection. If you're not aligned with that anymore, no pressure. I respect your path either way. No begging, no blame, just grounded truth." Step 3, the frame. He started showing up in his own life again, not to impress her, but to impress himself. He shared his work, his fitness journey, his thoughts, not as bait, but as momentum. And then, 2 days later, a message. "I've been thinking about you a lot. I miss how grounded you were." Did he take her back? That's not the point. The point is, he stopped chasing the reaction and started living the reality. He didn't get her back through silence. He got himself back through Stoic leadership. The psychology behind why this works. To understand why this works, we have to go deeper into the realm of emotional psychology. Because women don't just respond to what you say, they respond to what your energy communicates. And when you ignore them without clarity, your energy says, "I'm scared to confront. I'm unsure of myself. I'm hoping you chase me." Even if you say nothing, that energy screams. To you, your silence might feel like control, but to her, it feels like punishment. It feels like uncertainty. And that's the one thing feminine energy can't fully trust. Because at her core, a woman seeks emotional leadership, not control, not silence, but grounded direction. Now, here's where it gets powerful. When you choose calm clarity over reactive silence, her subconscious feels something rare: certainty. You're not punishing, you're not panicking, you're not chasing, you're simply anchored. You're not saying, please pick me. You're saying, I know my worth. I'd love for you to meet me there, but I'm not waiting. That message, even without words, hits deeper than any game could. Because now she starts wondering, why isn't he chasing me? Why does he seem okay without me? Am I even enough for a man like him? You've flipped the emotional script. You are no longer the pursuer. You've become the chooser. And that, psychologically, is what builds respect. Not because you ignore her, but because you no longer need her reaction to feel valuable. You've stopped seeking permission to be powerful. You've stepped into that power quietly, consistently, stoically. And in that space, she either rises to meet you or fades away without shaking you. That's not detachment. That's inner dominance. Don't ignore her to make her chase. Don't stay silent hoping she'll come running back. That's not power, that's a performance. And the truth is, the more you perform, the less grounded you become. True strength doesn't seek to punish, it seeks to preserve peace. You don't rise by making someone feel your absence. You rise by becoming someone who no longer needs to be validated. Because once you outgrow the need for her reaction, that's when you become truly untouchable. Not cold, not cruel, but calm. You don't chase, you don't retaliate, you don't collapse. You lead with presence. You speak with clarity. You walk with purpose. And if she aligns with that, she stays. If not, you let her go. Not in anger, but in peace. Because a man who's at peace no longer plays games. He no longer needs control. He only needs alignment. If this message spoke to you, leave a comment below with the word Stoic. Tell me where you are on your journey. If you're done with emotional games and ready to lead with calm, grounded strength, hit subscribe and join a tribe of men reclaiming their power. Don't ignore her, outgrow her. Not to win, but to evolve. Until next time, stay grounded, stay stoic, stay unstoppable.